Unless you clear the ground, they used to call it in Kentucky, new ground. There had to be the stumps removed and all the trash and everything, and then you can plant and expect something. That has to come down. That's so true in religion. There's so many false ideas and concepts and ideas out there that must be removed before people can ever get down to really thinking seriously about what the Bible says. To use a New Testament passage that underscores the same thing. You have a statement like Ephesians 5 verse 11, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather even reprove them. You can't go along with, support, endorse that which is wrong, but you have the obligation to correct. And so what we're talking about in this series of lessons, much of it is uprooting false ideas, trying to show that these ideas that men have developed are certainly not what the Bible teaches. And to your benefit, we have some charts here to hopefully help you to understand what we're talking about. Now, there's a chart here that I want you to look at called dispensationalism down at the bottom. And it's a rather complicated thing because we don't usually study that, but what we're about tonight is about one phase of that chart. And it's called the Rapture and the Great Tribulation. This is something that is constantly on people's mind today, as Chris indicated by getting us started tonight. Well, what are they talking about? Well, that dotted line indicates that God's plan was foiled by disobedient Jews. God really intended for Christ to come and to establish an earthly kingdom and reign for 1,000 years according to this theory. Not a word about 1,000 years in the Old Testament. That's all from Revelation 20. But according to them, that was God's original plan, and so since he failed, then it's postponed and put off, and it will not come into reality until a number of other things take place. The church really wasn't in the Old Testament mind of God at all. That's false also. But that's this theory. That's what we're trying to tear down. The church was in the mind of God before the foundation of the world. He chose us in it in Ephesians chapter 1. It was in prophecy. Something's going to happen in the days of these kings. God has set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed. It was in prophecy. It was in preparation in the days of John the Baptist and the preaching of Jesus. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, at hand. And it became a reality in Acts chapter 2. And lo and behold, this chart right here shows that they understand when it began. The church took place and started then, but the only problem is they don't think that was in the original plan of God. See, that didn't work out. So, since it failed, then God had to postpone, and substituting for the kingdom now on earth is the church. That's according to their theory. Now then, when is that millennium going to take place, that 1,000 years? Well, it's going to happen after this rapture business down here and the Great Tribulation. Now, those two lines, if you'll see right in the middle of that chart, you've got resurrection of the righteous and the resurrection of the tribulation saints. The tribulation is going on in between there. And so that's what we're talking about here in this scheme of things.